So, because today I said that we are going to start off with this case study. We did it, right? So that is this the evaluation of misstatements identified during the audit. Yeah. So based on that, I think I could not discuss this case study. So I'm going to start off with this. Yeah. So we didn't discuss this, right? Karadan, as I can remember, we didn't do this. Karina neda? Tanne. Matakane. We didn't do, no? ඒක මතකත් නැහැ. So anyway, so we'll discuss this particular case study. So basically, the requirements, we have 5 requirements based on this case study. So here, so based on the definitions of FSLA US 450, so we have to classify issues B, C, and D into their specific type of misstatements with brief justification for it. So we discuss 3 main types of misstatements. So you need to classify these according to that. Identify which of the monetary issues the auditor is required to accumulate. What is the justification for excluding any of these items from the accumulated total? And so this is an exam type question, okay? So if you are not going to provide the answers, I'm also not going to discuss the case study. So you have to find the answers by yourself. Yeah. So then the next is, so when you aggregate the accumulated misstatements, approaches the overall materiality of 30,000 rupees. What specific determinants must the auditor make regarding the overall audit strategy and audit plan? And then management has, if it refused to correct the issue C and E, so what must the auditor obtain from management regarding their refusal? And prior evaluating the effect, those uncorrected misstatements on the financial statement, and what must the auditor reassesses, and how should the auditor communicate these uncorrected misstatements to those charged with governance. So these are the requirements. Okay, under the question number 4. And finally, at the conclusion of the audit, what specific elements regarding the identified and uncorrected misstatements must the auditor include in the documentation which comply with SLUS 450. Okay, so then let's go back to the case study, background and the materiality threshold. Okay, so this is on the Calania, the audit of Calania Manufacturing PLC. So you are the lead auditor of Calania Manufacturing PLC for the financial year ending 31st December. The company has reported an annual profit of 3 million rupees. At the planning stage of the audit, your team established the following materiality threshold based on the company's financial statements. Okay? So then the overall materiality is set out from amounting to 3 million. Okay? So the 1% from 3 million, it comes to 30%. And the PM or the performance materiality is set at 60% of the overall materiality, which is amounting to 18,000 rupees. And then the clearly triable limit is set at almost 0.5% of the performance materiality, which is amounting to 90 rupees. Okay. So the misstatements below this clearly triable limit is not actually accumulated. Then the audit findings and misstatements are given. So issue A, is petty cash error. Yeah, so here a misstatement is defined as a difference between the reported amount, classification, presentation, or disclosure of a financial statement item and what's required for the item to be in accordance with the applicable financial reporting framework. Okay, so basically they have identified 5 issues. So issue A or issue 1 is petty cash error. As per that, an incorrect amount was recognized relating to the office supplies. The difference was calculated to be an overstatement of 50 rupees. Yeah. So give me 1 minute. Okay. If you take the materiality in rupees, that is 30,000. And we have the performance materiality, which is coming to 18,000 rupees. And then clearly travel limit is actually 90 rupees. Okay. So then issue A is basically a misstatement relating to office supplies, overstatement of uh, office supplies. I think it's an expense. The amount is 50 rupees. Okay, so this is the description. This is the amount in rupees. Yeah, and then the issue B is it's a data processing issue. There was an inaccuracy in gathering and processing sales data from which the financial statements were prepared. So this resulted in an overstatement of revenue by 12,000, and there is no doubt about this discrepancy. Is by how much? It is by 12,000 rupees. Okay, and then the issue C is warranty provision. The management made judgments concerning accounting estimates for warranty provisions that the auditor considered unreasonable. Okay, so the management, so there is a discrepancy between what auditors think and what the management thinks. So, so the management has a concern about the auditor's judgment. So they consider that the auditor's judgment on this warranty provision is unreasonable. Therefore, the auditor estimates that the provision is understated by 14,000. Okay. So C is with regard to understatement of warranty provision by 14,000. Okay, and then we have D. It is travel expense. Okay, the audit team tested the audit sample of travel expenses claims. Based on the errors found in the sample, the auditor projected the misstatements to the entire population from which the sample was drawn. Yeah, the auditor's best estimates of the misstatement in the entire. No, you can't record this. Okay, the recordings are not available. Don't send me the request to record. I'm getting requests to record this session. No, you can't record. Yeah? So then the auditor's best estimates of the misstatement in the entire population is 7,000. Okay, so what happens here is, so the auditor tested a sample of travel expenses. Okay, so based on the test on the sample, based on the audit procedures on the sample, they have identified certain misstatement, and then when they project it and see, it can be maximum 7,000 rupees in this particular account. Okay, මේ account එකේ maximum තියෙන්න පුළුවන් misstatement එක 7,000 as per their projection. Okay, so here this is travel expense. So it is 7,000 rupees. Okay, and then what we have is issue E. This is disclosure omission. The company operates a small mining division. The audit team noted the omission of the information about circumstances that have led to a significant long-term decline in the demand for the mined commodity, which should have triggered an impairment loss disclosure. Yeah. So then the issue E is actually related to, so there is a significant reduction in the demand from this mining operation, for which they should have put a note on this impairment of this mining division impairment yeah. So then but the company has not done it, so that mining division impairment එකක් තියෙනවා, ඒක recognize කරන්න ඕනේ. So this is with regard to a disclosure. Okay, and then the audit progress and the management responses. As audit progress, the auditor notes that the aggregate of accumulated misstatement is approaching the overall materiality determined in accordance with SLA US 320. Okay, so this indicates there may be greater than acceptably low level of risk that is possible undetected misstatements. Yeah. So when combined with accumulated misstatement could exceed the materiality. The auditor communicated these accumulated misstatements to the appropriate level of management on a timely basis and requested that they could be corrected. Then the management agreed to correct issue B but refused to adjust issue C, arguing that their accounting estimates were appropriate. Yes. So then the management response. So they agreed to adjust issue B. Okay, agreed to adjust. Yeah, but they didn't agree to adjust issue C, arguing that so their accounting estimate on this warranty provision is correct, not agreed to adjust. Okay, and then furthermore, management was reluctant to add the disclosure to issue E. Okay, so with regard to this also, they are not agreeing to adjust. Yeah. So then the questions based on the definitions of SLA US 450 classify issues B, C, and D into their specific types of misstatements with a brief justification for each. Okay, so you have to consider the issue B, C, and E only. What is the reason? Why you are not considering, basically not considering about issue B and D? We are not considering this. Why? ඇයි අපි මේ issues they consider කරන්නේ නැත්තේ? Why we don't consider issue A and D and only consider on B, C, and E? Yes, what's the reason? No specific reason. No. ඇයි අපි B, C and D විතරක් consider කරන්නේ? Why not A and D? ඇයි අපි මේ තුන මේ green color තුන විතරක් ගැන specifically consider කරන්නේ? Why not the others? Okay, don't know. Okay, so you have to find out that, and then so you have to classify the issues according to the standard. So according to SLUS 450, so you need to identify these issues, but under which category you can put this B, C, and D. We basically discussed 3 types of misstatements. So you have to tell me under which category each of these 3 go. Take 1 minute and tell me. Any answers? Anyone? Okay, no answers. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so I'm not going to discuss this case study. So you have to find out answers by yourself. Okay, I'm not even going to provide the answers for this. Okay, ඔගොල්ලම හොයාගන්න. So because මම මුලින් ඉඳලම කිව්වනේ ඔයගලන්ට මේ slide එකේ තියෙන එක exactly අහන්න exam එකට. So that's why we are doing the case studies. Okay, and also I'm not going to discuss any case studies for the future lessons as well. So you have to find out the answers by yourself. Yeah. We'll then straight away move into the lesson. Okay. That is gathering audit evidences in specific areas, part 2. Yeah. So today we are going to discuss, in this lesson, we are going to discuss about two auditing standards. So the first one is SLUS 505. Okay. on the external confirmation. Yeah. So this again under this standard, under the scope of this particular SLAUS, this particular standard applies to the auditor's use of external confirmation procedures to obtain audit evidences in accordance with the requirements of SLAUS 330 and SLAUS 550. Okay. So then what is SLAUS 330? What it has? I think you all should have already done it. Hmm? It basically deals with auditors' responses to the assessed risk. And when it comes to the SLAUS 500, any idea? Hmm? It's a very basic auditing standard. No point of asking. No, that is on audit evidences. Okay, so the external confirmation we obtain as a part of collecting audit evidences. Yeah, so then this auditing standard does not apply to inquiries regarding litigations and claims which are dealt under the SLAUS 501. Okay, so then remember always you can refer to the last year's the past papers, and also you can refer to the results as well. You can ask about how was the result in advanced auditing. Every year we have kind of 20 to 30 students who get repeated in this subject. Okay, so one main reason is they don't know how to answer in the exam paper. We want us what is the objective of SLUS 505. Okay, SLUS 450. What's the objective of the standard? So such questions we are not going to ask. Now you all are in the third year. It's solely based on case studies. Okay, like what I was started in discussing. Yeah, so there should be a commitment from your side also. I know like most of you all are at your boarding places, at your hostels. මම දන්නවා හුඟක් අය වෙරට යන්නේ ඉන්නේ බෝඩිමේ එක්කෝ ගෙදර. Y'all leisurely y'all sit and just wait and listen to the lectures. Okay? මම ඕන තරම් ඔයගලෙන් ගොඩක් අය වෙරට යන්නේ නැහැ කියලා මම හොඳටම දන්නවා. and වැඩට ගියත් අපි ඕන තරම් දැනුවත් තියෙනවා 6 විතර වෙනකොට ළමයි ඔක්කොම ගොඩක් සෑහෙන ප්‍රමාණයක් එනවා. ආයි කැම්පස් එකට. Okay, then ආයි කිසිම විදිහකින් මම case studies discuss කරන්නේ. So you all can see how your results going to be. Okay, so case studies අනිවාර්යෙන් discuss කරන්න ඕනේ. Otherwise you all can't write the answers for the exam. Okay, keep that in mind. Yeah, but I'm not going to take that again. Okay. So the objective of this standard is to actually design and perform such procedures to obtain relevant and reliable audit evidences. Okay, so this standard provide guidance to obtain relevant and reliable audit evidences through getting this confirmation. Yeah, so the important definitions. So you should know what is an external confirmation. The students who are working should know what is an external confirmation. Usually we obtain confirmations from trade debtors. Okay, so regarding there, what's the balance as of the year end? And we also obtain confirmations from the banks regarding the bank balances as of the year end. Okay, so these are some of the examples for the external confirmation. Yeah, so then these external confirmations are audit evidences obtained as a direct written response to the auditor from a third party in paper form or by electronic or other medium. Okay, so the audit this confirmation we do not, these confirmations we actually obtain from a third party, not from the client. Okay, so here what we do is, so for example, we select some of the trade debtors and ask them, so send them a request to confirm their balance as of the year end. Let's say on 31st March 2026, what's your balance with the balance to be payable as of 31st March 2026. Okay, we also obtain the confirmations from the bank to confirm the bank account balance of this particular company as of a particular date. Okay, so this can be in a paper form, that means through a letter we can get the confirmation, or we can get the confirmation from electronic or any other medium, like we can get the, for example, through an email. When it comes to these confirmations, there are two types of confirmations, as positive confirmation request and negative confirmation request. When it comes to the positive confirmation request, what happens is a request that the confirming party respond directly to the auditor. The confirming party send the balance confirming response directly to the auditor, indicating whether the confirming party agrees or disagrees with the information is the request. For example, I sent the, as auditor, I send the letter to a trade debtor. So as per the system, the amount which is payable is 1.2 million. Okay, so I send the letter to the customer, particular customer, let's say A, that as per the company's account, your balance to be payable as of 31st March 2026 is 1.2 million. Please tell me whether you agree or disagree with this balance. Okay, so in the request or providing the requested information, so you directly send this and you ask the customer to respond back to the auditor. Yeah, but when it comes to the negative confirmation request, so this is again we send the so we directly send the request to the third party, asking them to confirm directly to the auditor. We ask the other party or the third party to confirm their balance directly to the auditor only if the confirming party disagrees with the information provided in the request. That means, so here I sent the request to the trade debtor by mentioning that as per the counting system, the balance payable as of 31st March 2026 is 1.2 million. Respond me if you actually do not agree with this balance. Okay, මේ balance එකට ඔයා agree වෙන්නේ නැත්නම් විතරක් මට respond කරන්න කියලා මම email එක මම request එක දානවා. Okay, that is the negative confirmation request. Okay, so in the positive confirmation request, so rather whether it is the third party agrees with the balance or disagree with the balance, still they have to respond. I request them to respond to me. But when the negative confirmation request, with the negative confirmation request, I request the third party to respond if he or she only disagree with the information provided in the request. Okay, is it clear regarding the difference between positive confirmation and the negative confirmation request? Yes, so any questions? Okay, thank you. Then what we have is non-response. Okay, non-response in the sense, so you send the request to the particular third party, but the third party does not respond to you. So this mostly happens with this debtor's confirmation. Yeah, so when it comes to this, mostly for this retail customers they don't much respond. For example, if you're auditing a bag, So you select a sample of, let's say, leases provided. So you send the confirmation request to the customers. Okay. එතකොට leases ගත්තාම ගොඩක් වෙලාට ඉන්නේ ඔතන අපිට loans උනත් එන්න පුළුවන්. So you have mostly the individual customers, okay? Not the corporate customers. අපි FD ගන්න පුළුවන්, FD balance එක request confirm කරන්න කියලා request එකක් යවන්න පුළුවන්. But mostly they don't respond, okay? Because sometimes they just don't care. Sometimes they get scared to reply, okay? ඇත්තට මේගොල්ලෝ තේරෙන්නේ නැහැ why we do this. Yeah, so they don't respond to us. Yeah. So when you don't get a particular response, okay, so or a failure to confirming party to respond or fully respond to a positive confirmation request or a confirmation request returned undelivered is called as a non-response. Okay, it's not only not responding. Sometimes you send a letter to the customer, but that letter is returned without delivery. Okay, so there may not be sometimes this particular designated person at this address. සමහරවිට ගෙවල් මාරු කළ වෙන්න පුළුවන් නැත්නම් වැරදි ඇඩ්‍රස් එකක් දීලා වෙන්න පුළුවන් කිසියම් හේතුවක් නිසා ලියුම ඩිලිවර් වෙන්නේ නැතුව රිටර්න් වෙනවා. Okay, so that is again considered as a non-response. Yeah. So then we have exception. Exception in the sense a response that indicates a difference between confirmation requested to be confirmed or contained in the entity's records and information provided by the confirming party. Yeah, for example, you say that as per the system balance, it is 1.2 million and you ask the customer to respond. The customer respond and say, no, as per my record, the balance that I have to pay is 1 million. So there is a difference. Okay, almost 200,000 difference is there. Okay. As per the company system, the customer has to pay actually 1.2 million, but the customer responds and say, no, as per my record, I have to pay as of 31st March 2026 only 1 million. Okay, so now there is a difference as per the system balance and what the customers confirm. Yeah, so there is a 200,000 difference. This difference we basically call as exception. Yeah, so then those are so there are some more definitions, but those are the things which you should know to basically understand this particular standard. Yeah. So then the external confirmation procedure to obtain audit evidence. So then this particular standard indicates that the reliability of the audit evidence is influenced by the reliability of the audit evidence. Okay? Its source and its nature and is dependent on the individual circumstances under which it is obtained. Okay, what do you mean by the reliability? What do you mean by reliability? Reliability කියලා කියන්නේ මොකක්ද? Yes, reliability. Okay, being able to trust upon others. Reliability. So you all discuss the code of ethics also, no? Code of ethics will discuss karani. Only one student has the answer. Yeah, only A students know the answers. Others? Okay, degree to which audit evidences can be trusted. Okay, trustworthy. Yeah. Basically, the reliability indicates the trustworthiness. Okay. So this basically, this standard indicates this trustworthiness of different types of audit evidences that we obtain during a particular audit engagement. Okay, so here, so when it comes to the nature, okay, so then I'll take these three separately. So this includes the following generalization applicable to the audit evidences. Okay, the audit evidence is more reliable when it is obtained from independent sources outside the entity. Okay, so we say that the external audit evidences are more reliable than the internal audit evidences. Okay, so this external source should be an independent source outside the organization. So why this is important is, so these internal documents can be easily manipulated by the management to make the company look better. Yeah. So therefore, external parties have no reason to lie to the company. For example, so when it comes to this trade receivable scenario, okay, so trade receivables, so sometimes, so previously I said as per the system it is 1.2 million, but as per the customer it is only 1 million. So in this scenario, sometimes the company's management or the company's records does not indicate one payment from the customer because sometimes some of one of they may have stolen it. Okay, කවුරු හරි මේ customer pay කරපු amount එක record කරලා නැහැ. හොරකම් කරලා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay. So in the cash also they don't record it. Okay. Or revenue වලත් record කරන්නේ නැහැ, cash වලත් record කරන්නේ නැහැ. They just steal that money and don't record it at all. Yeah. So that is possible. Okay. So if you just looking to the accounts, cash account and both the trade receivable account, you note that in the both, as per the both, the customer's balance should be this much. Yeah, customer has not paid the this particular amount. Yeah, එතකොට customer pay කරපු 200,000 ඇත්තටම ඒක කොහෙවත් record කරන්නේ නැතුව මේක හොරකම් කරලා වෙන්න පුළුවන්. Okay, so the company, the internal documents actually can be manipulated by the management or some other employee. Yeah, but this external party, the customer is an external party to the organization, so they don't actually have a desire to lie. Okay, so they actually provide the requested true information. Yeah, so that's why we say this external evidences is more reliable than internal evidences. Okay, so another example is if an auditor wants to verify how much of cash a company has, so a bank statement, or a bank statement or a bank confirmation which is directly sent from the bank to the auditor is actually more reliable than the cash account or the bank account ledger which is on the company. Okay, so we want to verify what's the cash bank balance as of 31st March 2026. So for what we do is we directly obtain a bank statement from the bank, or else mostly what we do is we obtain a bank confirmation from the bank regarding the year-end balance. Okay, so when you obtain a bank confirmation, that is an evidence which is obtained from an external party to the organization. Okay, because this bank account balance in the company's accounts, it can be amended. Okay, so then the next one is the audit evidence obtained directly by the auditor is more reliable than audit evidences obtained indirectly or by inference. Okay, so here the auditor should directly obtain. Okay, auditor directly engage collect audit evidences. So we consider this direct evidence is more reliable than the indirect evidences. Yeah. So the rule here is the auditor gathers with their own eyes the evidence that the auditor gathers with his or her own eyes or hands is actually more reliable than evidences that they get indirectly or have to assume. For example, that let's say if an auditor wants to prove a company actually owns three machines. Okay, company ke ඇත්තටම අපි තුන් production එකට machines තුනක් තියෙනවා. So actually then what the auditor needs to do is they have to physically go and check these machines. Yeah. So it is actually if the auditor directly goes and check those machines, so that's a direct evidence. Okay, otherwise the company can say, okay, so I purchased these three machines during the year and it's there on the factory and they can provide the invoices as well. But these invoices can be easily produced. The fake invoices can be easily produced. So what the best method is, so you can go to the factory premises and you can visit there and actually check whether these three machines are over there. Okay, so that is an example for a direct evidence obtained by the client. Okay, so why it is important is when the auditor engages directly, there is actually no middleman who can manipulate or alter these evidences. Yeah. Then finally, the audit evidence is more reliable when it exists in documentary form, whether paper, electronic or other medium. Okay, when it exists in the documentary form, yeah, rather than it is in any other medium. For example, this oral or the spoken evidences, so documentary evidences may be in the papers or any other electronic forms, for example, in email. Okay, අපි කතා කරලා ගන්න oral evidences වලට වඩා document evidences are more reliable. Okay, so then because the reason is that evidences that exist in a fixed document form is actually more reliable than these verbal explanations. For example, let's say to confirm the particular terms of massive sale, or for example, so the company entered into a big contract with a particular customer. Okay, so then in order to confirm that, what you need to have customer connect එක ලොකු contract එකකට එනවා company එක. So the company A, that is company A, and the customer is B. So A enters into a major contract with the B to supply, let's say the company is apparel manufacturing company, 200,000 shirts. Okay, 100,000 shirts mahala vikunana, so that's a very major contract. So they entered into this contract with B. So what should be the evidence to prove this? මේ වගේ එකක් prove කරන්න තියෙන evidence එක මොකද්ද? Documentary form should be basically to confirm the contract with the customer, what you can have as evidence. If you have a very major contract with the customer, yes, සාමාන්‍ය customer කෙනෙක් එක්ක කළපු contract එකකට අපි enter වුණාට පස්සේ we should have the contract. Okay, so to prove the contract, you should have to prove that you have entered into contract with customer B, you should have a signed contract. Okay, you should have a signed contract. So that is more reliable than just the accountant or CEO simply saying that they have entered the contract with this customer B. Okay, you can see CEO කටින් කියනකොට අපි මේම customer කෙනෙක්ගේ contract එකට ආවා කියලා the more reliable evidence is the signed contract with the customer. Because anyone can say anything and later on they can say, no, we didn't say anything like that, like the politicians do. Okay. So then, so if we have these three main criteria, we say that the audit evidence is more reliable in these situations. Okay. Is it clear? Any questions out of this? No? Okay. Then let's see SLAUS 240. The auditor may design, as per this SLAUS for 240, the auditor may design confirmation requests to obtain additional cooperative information as response to address the risk of material misstatements due to fraud at the assertion level. What do you call as cooperative information? Yes. Overlock කරලා තියෙන්නේ. Yes, anyone who can remember what is it? No. So cooperative information is the evidence which actually supports or confirm the existing evidence. Okay. දැන් අපිට තියෙන evidences වලට තව support කරන evidences. Okay, that's what you call as cooperative, yeah, additional evidences. Okay, additional evidences අපිට existing තියෙන evidences තවදුරටත් confirm කරන ඒවා. Okay, for example, let's say that when it comes to the sales, so the company's account shows that the company has 1 million worth of sales to a customer. Okay, so here the cooperative information can be, so the auditor go and looks into signed delivery receipt from a third party customer. Okay, is it a 1 million sales record කරලා තිබ්බොත් එහෙම, so you have the invoice, but what you can do is as additional information, so you can see whether there is a delivery receipt which is signed by the customer. Okay, so that is an additional cooperative information other than the invoice to confirm that this sales has happened. Okay, අපි සාමාන්‍යයෙන් ගිහලා invoice එකනේ බලන්නේ. invoice එක බලනවට අමතරව අපි customer ට deliver කරාට පස්සේ delivery note එක customer sign කරලා දෙන්න ඕනේ. So we can also check this delivery note as well. Yeah. So then usually when sales we do this three-way matching as an audit procedure. Yeah. So then this SLAUS 500 says cooperating information obtained from a source independent of the entity, such as external confirmation, may increase the assurance of the auditor obtained from evidences existing within the accounting records or from representations made by the management. Okay. Then representations made by the management in the sense, so they also confirm certain things that they prepared like this account balances and certain things will be taken that later. So management, so at the end of the audit, we obtain the management representation that as well. So they confirm that the judgments that they made are appropriate likewise. Okay. So here this SLAUS confirm that this additional information or evidences obtained the third party confirmation, it actually increases the like on the reliability of the audit evidences from the existing sources within the organization. Okay, අපි හිතන්නකො අපි balance එකක් confirm කරා කියලා. Yeah, so we confirm a particular trade receivable balance. Yeah, So then you check the payments during the year and sales during the year, and you confirm a particular trade receivable balance. Yeah, that is based on the company's existing accounting records. But for the same balance, so you obtain uh, the confirmation from the customer as well. That actually gives you an additional assurance of the evidence obtained from the company's information. Okay. අපි එක්ස්ටර්නල් පාර්ටි එකකින් කන්ෆර්මේෂන් එකක් ගත්තා කියන්නේ අපි දැනට එකතු කරගෙන තියෙන ඔඩිට් එවිඩන්සස් වලට additional assurance එකක් දෙනවා වගේ. Okay, is it clear for you? Yes or no? Any questions? No. Okay. So then SLA US 330 is also related to this. What is SLA US 330? 330. Second one in the sense, which one? Second one in the sense, this SLA US 500. Okay, so what happens over there is, so what I said is, when it comes to a trade receivable balance, so you confirm, so you check, for example, okay, so there is a balance as 1.5 million rupees from the customer, okay, as of 31st March 2026, there is a trade receivable balance as 1.2 million, yeah. So as you say that the banks, as per 31st March 2026, the bank balance is 1.2 billion. Okay. Okay. You cross-check with the bank statement as well and all the reconciliations you perform, and you confirm the balance as 1.2 million. Okay. So for this balance, you confirm through the company's accounting records by looking at the bank book balances. Okay. Bank book transactions and balances. You confirm this 1.2 balance. So for this, you get an additional assurance මේ balance එක අපි audit procedures perform කරලා confirm කරගෙන ඉවරයි. Okay, through our substantive procedures. So what you do is, additionally, to confirm the same balance, you obtain an evidence from an external party, that is bank confirmation. So you directly obtain the bank confirmation, that is you request the bank to confirm the bank balance as of 31st March. So they also confirm what is the balance as of 31st March 2026. So it's like getting an additional assurance on our audit, the confirmed balances. Okay, අපි මේ balance එක confirm කරපු එකට අපි additional assurance එකක් නැත්නම් additional evidence එකක් obtain කරනවා by obtaining the bank confirmation for the bank balance as of the year end. Is it clear? Okay, so then how about SLA US 330, 330? Yes, that is basically the auditor's response to the assessed risk. Yeah. So then the irrespective of the assessed risk of material misstatement, the auditor designs and performs substantive disclosures. Okay. The auditor is required to consider whether external confirmation procedures are to be performed as substantive audit procedures. Okay. So the auditor actually designs and performs, this should be substantive procedures. Okay. Type mistake from my end. Yeah. So the auditor designs and performs the audit procedures. Okay. So when designing this audit procedure, the auditor should consider whether this obtaining audit external confirmation procedure are to be performed as substantive audit procedure. Okay, so for example, when it comes to the bank loans, yeah, so the bank loans we perform different audit procedures, yeah. So we check the agreement signed with the customer, okay, and then we check the repayments by the customer during the year, yeah. So then additionally, we also can get obtaining this confirmation from the customer. Okay, අපි loans bank වල නම් දැන් loans තියෙනවා. ඒතර loans වලට අපි substantive procedures එකක් ඒවා කරනවා. ඒ example එකක් තමයි අපි check කරනවා contracts, loan agreements. ඒතර අපි තව perform කරලා so that's then we check for a selected set of customers we check what are their repayments during the year. Okay, so and also we can perform, so we can ask them to confirm from a selected set of customers, we can ask them to confirm their balances as of the year. Okay, so we can decide whether this external confirmation procedure is required to be performed as substantive audit procedures. Okay, so then the auditor obtain more persuasive audit evidences, higher the auditor's assessment of risk. Okay, to do this, the auditor may increase the quantity of the evidence or obtain that is more relevant or reliable or both. But that's it. Persuasive audit evidences in the sense. That means what? ඒ වචනේ ඔයගොල්ලෝ අහලා තියෙන්නේ. මොකද්ද? Persuasive audit evidences. Meaning එකවත් මතකද? No idea. The calling. Okay, I got. Yeah. I thought. Give me 1 minute. Yeah, so basically, yeah, good. At least some of you all searched and told me the answer. Yeah, so when it comes to the audit evidences, we say that the audit evidences should be sufficient and appropriate. Okay, so it actually talks about the quantity and the quality of the audit evidences. Okay, yeah, very good. So reliability and the sufficiency of the audit evidences that we obtain. Okay, so actually this says the auditor should obtain more sufficient and reliable audit evidences, the higher the auditor's assessment of risk. Okay, so for the different audits we have different assessment of the risk. So certain audits are considered to be high risk and certain audits are not. Okay, so then if we assess the risk in the particular audit is high, the evidence should also be high. Okay, so this auditing is kind of, it's all about risk. Okay, so if you look into some account and see, for example, that there is a high chance of something being wrong in this particular account. So we can't just actually do one audit procedure. Yeah, for example, when it comes to revenue, in most of the organization, we identify that there is high chance of something getting wrong in this particular revenue account, because always we assume with the revenue there is fraud risk. Okay, so then we can't just check the selected number of sales invoices and close our work. Okay, so if the risk is high, so then if you all are working in audit firms, you all know that for the accounts that we identified as significant accounts, we perform more than one audit procedures. Okay, it's both this control checking and the substantive procedures. Yeah. So to do this, the auditor may increase the quantity of the evidence or obtain evidence that is more relevant or reliable, or both. Okay. So in a response to the risk, so the auditors can increase the quantity of the evidence. For example, we can increase our sample size. Okay, we can increase our sample size, or we can obtain evidence that is more reliable, or we can do both. Okay, so when it comes to the increase of the quality or the relevance of the reliability, so we can actually stop, the auditor can actually stop being only relying on the internal documents. So we can also expect, we can demand external documents proves as well. For example, this revenue and the trade receivables are interlinked. So when it comes to the trade receivables, instead of just looking at the accounting records, we can also record the confirmations from the customer. Okay, so in order to respond to the assessed risk, we have to increase the quantity or to obtain more reliable